The Trinity is like water. Water can exist in a liquid form, ice form, or gas form. One substance can do three different things. In the same way, God can appear as the Father, the Son, or as the Holy Spirit.
Though it is often used in Christian circles, this illustration is actually a heretical view of the Trinity. The water doesn't exist in these three separate states, at the same time. God, however, exists as three separate persons at the same time. This illustration is a form of modalism, where God merely appears as three persons, but consists of only one person.
The Trinity is like a triangle. It is one triangle, but it has three separate points.
This is a good illustration for the Trinity. One triangle contains 3 points. The points are different from the shape. The triangle is one in shape, 3 in points. Similarly, God is one in nature, 3 in person.
The Trinity is like a man, who can play 3 different roles in a play. For example, Eddie Murphy plays several characters in the same movie. In the same way, God acts as the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, but these are all the same God.
This is a heretical illustration. God is simultaneously 3 persons, not one person playing 3 different roles. Again, this is modalism. The doctrine of the Trinity teaches that God is not appearing as the role of the Son. There really is the Son. Likewise, he is not appearing in the role of the Spirit. The Spirit is a distinctive person.
The Trinity is similar to the mythical dog Cerberus from Greek mythology. In the ancient Greek legend, Cerberus was a 3-headed dog that Hercules needed to kill. Cerberus was one dog, but he had 3 distinct heads. In the same way, one God exists as 3 separate persons.
In ancient Greek mythology, Hercules had to capture a 3-headed dog, who guarded the gates of Hades. He had 3 brains and 3 distinct consciousnesses. Despite the 3 independent consciousnesses, Cerberus is still one dog, one physical property. If Spike bit Hercules on the leg, he might report, "Cerberus bit me on the leg," or he might report, "Spike bit me on the leg." As bizarre as this analogy is, especially considering the fact that it comes from pagan mythology, it is a helpful illustration to explain the 3-in-oneness of God in the Trinity. Cerberus is one dog in nature. Yet he has 3 persons in the one nature, for example perhaps named Rover, Bowser, and Spike. Of course, most critics of the Trinity, specifically Unitarian monotheists like Muslims, Jews, and Jehovah's Witnesses, usually take offense to this illustration, because it compares God with a dog. For this reason, it is wise not to use this illustration to those who are already suspicious of the Trinity being polytheistic. The idea that the Trinity can be compared to a shamrock is largely attributed to St. Patrick. The analogy explains that in the same way that one shamrock can have 3 leaves on it, the Trinity has 3 persons that constitute one God. Modernizations of this analogy include that of an apple, with the peel, the flesh, and the core, or an egg, with its shell, yolk, and white. These images fall short, because these components aren't enough to be considered a whole on their own. If you looked at a single clover leaf, you wouldn't call it a shamrock. If all you had were an eggshell, you wouldn't have a very exciting breakfast. If you only had an apple core, you wouldn't pack it in your lunch. But in the Godhead, each person is fully and completely God unto himself, even as they are all one God. This analogy explains that the Father is like the Son. The Son is like the light rays that visibly reveal the sun, as Jesus is the visible image of the invisible God, Colossians 1:15. The Holy Spirit is like the heat that the sun produces, unseen yet powerful and effective in making the sun felt. This analogy sounds pretty good, but it is fatally flawed in that it describes the Son and Spirit as creations of the Father. This is the error of Arianism, not to be confused with Arianism, which is also bad. In Arianism, the Son is not eternally equal with the Father, but was the Father's first and best creation. This would make Jesus something less than fully God. This can only point to modalism or tritheism. It is modalistic if you are saying the shampoo performs three functions, yet is one substance. But you can also break down the various elements that perform each function and see them separately. That is tritheism, since all of the elements are not the same. They may work together to perform a specific goal, but they are not really the same substance. This is an often used illustration, but it only serves to present a modalistic understanding of God that is false. Father, Son, and husband only describe various functions of one person. Each function cannot exist in a simultaneous relationship with each other, can't talk to each other, and cannot exist in an eternal relationship with each other. This one, like the shampoo, can commit either a tritheistic or modalistic error, but cannot be used to illustrate the orthodox definition of the Trinity. It is modalistic in that the spirit, soul, and body are three functions of one conscience, or person. But it can also be tritheistic when one considers that the spirit is not the exact same nature as the body, or the soul if you are a trichotomist, another lesson.